Welcome, everyone. My name is Pastor Herb Lusk. I'm the CEO and founder of People for People, Inc., also pastor of the Greater Exodus Baptist Church, whereby all of these social outreaches have been born out of. It's my pleasure to welcome you. It's also my distinct honor to introduce David. I got a chance to meet David some time ago, and we broke bread. And one of the things that I remember the most about him in our meeting was just how keenly aware he was of how thrift can affect the lives of people in the community that I serve. Because of that, I thought it would be good to host this and to co-host it and to make you all comfortable today. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're comfortable. I hope that you learned some things. I hope that you have something to add. And without further ado, I'm going to present the man, David.
You're the man. You're the man. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. Thrift is one of the oldest, most important, and most controversial words in the English language. So let's just right now put aside this idea that it's some little, grandma's saying or, save your pennies. Thrift is a big idea. It's about human thriving. In fact, the word thrift comes from thrive, to grow, to prosper. So what does thrift mean? Well, I want to tell you probably the best definition of thrift in Anglo-American history, in my view, is by the great religious leader John Wesley. In his famous sermon, The Uses of Money, here's what he said. This is his charge. Earn all you can, save all you can, give all you can. That was his famous definition. Okay, let's just break it down for a moment. Earn all you can. Work hard. Perseverance, honest labor, and consistent effort will produce reward. It's not going to be dependent mostly on luck or hitting the number or having a brilliant insight one morning or your uncle leaves you something. It's about hard work, the work ethic. Earn all you can. The second, save all you can. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people that depend upon you. But don't spend everything for your immediate wants and needs. Hold something back for the future. Save everything you can, because thrift is a conserving and saving ethic. So in addition to earning all you can, you are saving all you can. Finally, you are giving all you can, because the concept of thrift is one of trusteeship. It's one of stewardship. And so you are linked to others. And if you see in the signs in Thrift Week, one of the themes of Thrift Week was share with others. So thrift has nothing to do with being stingy. In fact, it's thrifty people who are earning and saving that can afford to be generous. So the great concept that Wesley and many others said, this is the definition. Earn all you can, work hard and honestly, save all you can, be frugal, give all you can, be generous. That's what historically, traditionally, in our history, that's what people mean when they say thrift. Now, Pastor, you know that this is ultimately a spiritual principle. In our Christian tradition, yours and mine, it's called stewardship, right? The principle is that what we have what we have, our stuff, our money, our resources, what is given to us in this life is not ours to do with as we please. It is a gift from God which we hold in trust, and we have ethical responsibilities to use it with care and wisdom for ourselves and for others. So, we are called to be good stewards of what we have. So when Wesley was saying, gain with honesty all you can through your labor, don't spend it all on yourself for today, but save as much as you can and be as generous as you can with others, to share with others. He was articulating the stewardship principle that's a principle of our great religious teachings. Now, what Benjamin Franklin and others did was, with the word thrift, sort of made it broader, more secular, more democratically accessible. They gave it a less explicitly religious language, but the principle is the same, and it comes ultimately from this spiritual idea that's involved. It is present in all of our great faith traditions, that what we have is a gift, that we hold it in trust, and that we use it wisely and with care for ourselves and especially for others. What's the group in society that most embraces this ethic? Well, let's just try to answer that. The famous community organizer Saul Alinsky said that there were three groups in society. Here they are. He said, on the one hand, you have the haves. They're at one end of the spectrum. They're comfortable. They have a lot. Their material needs are well cared for. They're the upscale, affluent group, the haves. On the other end, you have the have-nots. They're the most without. They're the neediest. The most, they have almost nothing. He said, in the middle, you have a group, Alinsky called them the have-a-little-want-mores. You know, they're not rich, but they're not destitute either. They have something, but they want more. They're going somewhere. They're going from where they are now, which is to have a little, to a position of greater success and prosperity in life. Thrift was made for this group. Historically and today, this have a little want more, these people are made to practice and succeed through the thrift ethic. Why? Why would this group, I don't know, what would you call them? The working class people, the middle class people, the kind of the struggling people, you know, why do they grasp on and make good use of this concept of earn all you can, save all you can, give all you can? Well, there are a couple of obvious reasons. Thrift is the way to wealth. Franklin said, if you are industrious and frugal, you will be rich. You will gain wealth. This is a practice, this is an ethic that produces affluence. It may not make you rich, but you will gain in success and wealth if you practice this ethic. That's the premise. A second reason why the have a little want mores tend to be very interested in thrift, it's because thrift is available to everyone. You know, you don't have to wait. You don't have to ask the permission of somebody more powerful to do this. You don't have to wait for the people in Washington to agree on a new plan, or the people on Wall Street to straighten things out, or you don't have to ask permission. You know, nobody has to let you do this. You can do it. It is available to everyone. And that's why these are the people, because it's an empowerment idea. You're not waiting on somebody to let you do it. You just do it, and it works. Thrift is about self-help rightly understood. Again, there's three ways you can think about helping people. You can say, you're on your own. It's up to you. It's every man and woman for himself or herself. Laissez-faire. Sink or, swim or sink. It's one way to think about it. Another way to think about it is, I'm going to give you something. I feel sorry for you. You're helpless. You don't know. I have something. I'm just going to give it to you. Charity. I'm just going to hand you something. I hope it'll help. Thrift leaders have historically rejected and not looked kindly on either of those ideas. They have emphasized what we could call self-help with a helping hand. If you will take the step, if you will do that, it has to begin with you. You have to do something that is helping yourself, but if you do that, you will be helped by others. You will get a helping hand. It's not the jungle, and it's not paternalism or charity. It's helping people who are helping themselves. This is you'll see this in the history here. Now, not everybody believes in this. Thrift people, it's mother's milk for them, this concept. Okay? So, I'm trying to say that for immigrants, for people that start with not much, for people that come here or have this desire to improve themselves, that the great ethic, the great concept in our history that's helped so many people to do this is the idea of thrift. It's a philosophy for the rising classes, It's a philosophy for people who are on the move somewhere. I have a pastor friend who says in his church, he says he works in a church where there are a lot of suffering people in the community. And he says, we are going to meet and welcome you exactly where you are, but we're not going to leave you there. That's a thrift concept. We're going to meet you exactly where you are, but we're not going to leave you there. It's for people, if you are already where you want to go, thrift may not be so appealing to you. If you don't think you can go anywhere, thrift might not be something that you could work with. But if you're going somewhere, this is an idea for you. And that's why in the history here, that's why you see so many inspiring leaders that have come from and led this group of people around thrift ideas and institutions. I think of Maggie L. Walker from Richmond, Virginia. She was the first African-American woman to be the president of a bank. She called it the penny savings bank. Why? Because she was trying to communicate the concept that small amounts can add up to a big dream, a big idea. Pennies put in the bank for people that only had the pennies to put in Richmond, Virginia. That was Maggie Walker's dream. In my part of the country, Mississippi, there was a Dr. Lawrence Jones. They called him the little professor of Piney Woods. He started the Piney Woods School. Kids who had never been to school, that none in their family had ever been to. They go to this school. He was working in the great tradition of Booker T. Washington, one of the great thrift leaders. He started this little school, and now it's a model for the nation. Fabulous, based on the concept of thrift, this great educational leader, Lawrence Jones. Roy Bergengren, he's up here, threw over a good job in Lynn, Massachusetts as a lawyer to spend 25 years driving around America, gathering people of modest means together to tell them that they can form an organization to pool their resources, save their money together, and help one another in times of need. It's called a credit union. And he spent his life doing this. This was what he did. This was the institution he created that helped generations of people of modest means enter into the American middle class. And you won't read too much about these people in history books, but you really should. And there's a place at, let's see, I believe it's at 800 North Broad Street in Philadelphia. Football guy, praying halfback. He said, we're going to do something in this community. It was one of the things he did, one of the many things that they did with Dennis Mann and other people on his team, started a credit union right next door to us. Why? Because 80% of the people in this community where we are today don't have any bank account at all anywhere, and the community is festooned with payday lenders and check cashers and pawn shops who want to take what little money people already have out of their pockets. And he said, and they said, well, we'll see about that. We'll start a credit union. And we'll help people save their money, build wealth, practice thrift. And they've got a program now where they're going to try to let the kids in the school start saving money in the credit union. You know what the difference is between a credit union and a payday lender? Dennis Mann can tell you. A payday lender is trying to take money out of your pocket, and a credit union is trying to put money in your pocket. That's the difference. So that's the difference between a thrift ethic and a debt ethic. And that's the kind of institutions that historically are on these charts. Past generations of school children learned about it, but that's what some good folks, you good folks, I'm not sure if you all use the word thrift, but that's what almost every one of you are doing. Some version of that ethic is what you're doing. Now, does anybody think this idea is relevant for today? You know, I mean, I don't think it could be any more relevant. I don't think any idea could be more relevant for what is ailing us as a nation today. We're mired in debt and economic distress at every level of society, from the governmental level to the corporate level to the household and personal level. We are just drowning in this giant debt bubble that we have created as a society, this kind of debt world. And we have this fragile middle class. The have a little want mores today, they're falling further and further behind. They're not entering into the middle class. We have this fragile middle class, this insecure middle class. We have some haves. We have some have-nots, too many, way too many. But the have a little want mores today are losing ground and suffering a lot, and more of them are becoming have-nots, and fewer of them are becoming haves. That's the trend. I'm saying it in this language, but studies, footnotes, economists, they'll all tell you this. This is what's happening. So we need an ethic, a doctrine. We need a philosophy of wealth creation and carefulness in the use of wealth that is an ethically serious thing. And I think that the thrift idea, which again, we don't have to wait for the Tea Party to agree with President Obama to do this. We don't have to wait for the Wall Street guys to change the practices and so forth. We can just do it, and it will work. That's the promise of the thing. Not everybody agrees about this, by the way. But enough people have agreed with this ethic, this philosophy, to make it a vehicle of empowerment for many Americans. And I think that's where we ought to go. Now, is Philadelphia a good city to talk about this topic? My goodness, I can't possibly imagine a better city. When I first came to Philadelphia years ago, they said, what was it, meet in front of the Eagle at Wanamaker's? Is that still what people do? John Wanamaker was one of the great thrift leaders in American history. He more or less was the inventor of the department store, which is itself a thrift idea. But way beyond that, this guy set up a program. The young people that worked for Wanamaker, he sent them to night school on his nickel, and he set up a savings program for them where if they put $1 in the savings account, he would match it with a contribution from the company to encourage the young employees to save. About 10 years after he did that, he set up a profit sharing program whereby if the store made money, the employees made money. This guy was an amazing guy. He set up a free he was one of the founders of the free library. He was an international leader of the Sunday school movement. He was the first paid employee of the YMCA. Before he started the store, he worked for the Y. I know there's somebody here from the Y today. Wanamaker was a great YMCA leader. When he was Postmaster General, he said, well, it's interesting. Everybody goes to the post office. Why don't we let them open up savings accounts at the post office? That'd be it. What about that? And he did it. And for years, you could save your money by going to the post office. Wanamaker was just an amazing guy. He said that when they interviewed him one time, he said, I always had a broom in my hand. He would walk around the store with a broom. He's going to sweep it, make sure everything was orderly. And when he walked around the store in the back, the stock areas, he would pick up pieces of string from the floor and he would hand them to the employees. He said, we need to reuse that. We don't want to throw away this string. We need to use it. He had a broom and he picks up the string. This is a thrift guy, right? He's picking up pieces of string from the floor and wants to repurpose it to save and not waste. An amazing guy, right here in this city. I'm not even going to say anything about Ben Franklin because I don't want to, insult your intelligence, but let's just say this. Franklin is by far the most important thrift leader and most famous thrift advocate in the world. We're just going to leave it at that. Franklin, everybody that works in the field of thrift is working in some ways in the shadow of Benjamin Franklin, whether they know it or not. And I think it's here, correct me if I'm wrong, you have something called the Liberty Bell, I think. The Liberty Bell? There's a big connection between liberty and thrift, and I just want to conclude. Turn it over to Dennis, but my father is from Birmingham, Alabama, from Scotch stock, Scotch-Irish, Birmingham, Alabama. Rough guy, never had much, and he certainly was not walking around spouting poetry much. But there was one poet that he loves and still has memorized his poem to this day, Robert Burns, the great Scottish bard. And in 1686, Burns wrote a poem called Letter to a Young Friend. I think about my father every time I do this. To catch Dame Fortune's golden smile, assiduous wait upon her. Pursue fortune, go for it, work for it, throw yourself into gaining all you can. To catch Dame Fortune's golden smile, assiduous wait upon her, and gather gear by every wile that's justified by honor. Gather everything you can through honesty and integrity that's justified by honor. Not for to hide it in a hedge. We're not hoarding this and keeping it in a box. Not for to hide it in a hedge. Not for a train attendant. Not for more fluff and feathers for me. But for the glorious privilege of being independent. The glorious privilege of being independent. Independence, Declaration of Independence, liberty, independence, where you don't have to duck down and look up nervously and anxiously because you owe somebody money who has power over you. You can stand up straight and be independent. This is a big thought here. This is a big American thought. the glorious privilege of being independent, because the debtor is a servant to the creditor. And so we want to stand up and be independent through this ethic of earning and saving and giving all you can. So it's a big concept. And I think it can change the country. We have terrible problems. There's complete political gridlock. Raise your hand if you think that we're going to solve our problems by waiting until the politicians work things out. Anybody think that's a good plan? Tell me if you think your strategy is going to be to wait till the big guys on Wall Street figure it all, get their plans worked out about bailouts and whatever else it is. See if you think is that our strategy? They're gonna figure out ways to help us? No, I don't think so either. But I do think that this thrift ethic can replace the debt and waste ethic that we have been living under for at least a generation, and I think it can change the country. I think it can rebuild the great American middle class. I think it can give a sense of integrity to building a shared prosperity. Now, I have emphasized the dollar and cents aspect of thrift, and I've emphasized it with respect to the have a little want mores, and I haven't done due justice to the other dimensions of thrift, because thrift is a saving and conserving ethic. And so if you're involved in green activities, in protecting our natural environment, you're a part of the thrift movement. If you're involved in community gardening, if you're involved in libraries, if you're involved in public health issues, of protecting our health and making good use of, in terms of healthy eating, what the First Lady is involved in, this is a part of a thrift ethic. So I haven't emphasized that as much. I've emphasized this kind of dollar and cents angle, but this is a part of a broad ethic that can embrace many different people, like we have in the room today, doing a lot of different things. And I can't think of a more important concept for rebuilding our prosperity on true foundations. I cannot think of a better city to start this renewal movement than Philadelphia, and I cannot think of a better time to start than now. Thank you.